Hey Ankit, good morning.
Hi, hi, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Your voice is
Hello.
a little low.
Yeah, maybe I'm speaking a little
Yeah,
low. Yeah,
yeah, I can hear you now. It's clear now. So, how was your weekend, Ankit?
yeah, it's good.
Okay. Any chance to look into the things that you learned on Friday?
Yeah, I was doing regular expression. I did.
Okay.
Second.
So, I mean, how did you found it? I mean, was it good? Were you able to cope with it, or how was
Yeah,
it?
because I think while solving string questions, it's very useful to know regular expression.
Okay. So I mean, it was an interesting topic, and I think that I might have over-explained, or I don't know. You can tell me.
No,
I
no, no,
mean,
it was really good. I mean, good. No, no, over explain.
okay, okay. So you just let me know if you are seeing that the explanation on the explanation side, if I am sounding too much of uh, I mean hard to you. I mean, if you're not
Mhm,
getting a thing, let me know.
mhm.
I'll try to re-explain with some analogy, and that in that way it will be better for you, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
So today हम लोग आज क्या start करने वाले हैं? Today we are going to
Huh?
start Django. So the
Okay.
basics of Django we will see what exactly Django is uh, and how we can create a project in Django. What are the
Mhm.
benefits of
अच्छा
learning Django?
आप एक काम कर मतलब जैसे अभी आप सेशन रिकॉर्ड कर रहे हैं ना तो
हाँ.
ऐसे साथ साथ में करने में मुझे बैक एंड फोर्थ बहुत वो होगा तो आप
Mm-hmm.
मुझसे लिंक शेयर कर सकते हैं क्या गूगल ड्राइव पे तो मैं देख कर जो आप कर रहे हो मैं वो बाद
या
में कर
या
सकती हूँ
श्योर श्योर
है ना
श्योर श्योर बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
हाँ
मैं सोच रहा था कि मैं ये रिकॉर्डिंग्स में यूट्यूब पे अपलोड करूँ इफ
हाँ हाँ
यू आर ओके विथ इट.
या आई डोंट हैव एनी प्रॉब्लम
बिकॉज
बस ऐसे क्या बोलते हैं बस मुझसे वो शेयर कीजिएगा
या
मतलब
आई
आज ही शेयर कर दीजिएगा ये अगर आई थिंक टाइम लगेगा थोड़ा सा
हाँ मतलब ये वाली रिकॉर्डिंग आप चाहते हैं
नहीं नहीं
बाद
पीछे
में
वाली
रिकॉर्डिंग.
रिकॉर्डिंग्स नहीं चाहिए क्योंकि वो तो बहुत मतलब ऐसे बेसिक्स और वो सब थी ना तो वो सब
हाँ
ऑलमोस्ट
हाँ
आती थी ये
ओके.
जैंगो यहाँ से वाली आप शेयर कीजिएगा सो दैट
हाँ
मैं
बिल्कुल
क्लास के
बिल्कुल.
बाद प्रैक्टिस कर सकूँ
या श्योर. मैं ऐसा भी कर सकता हूँ. अभी एक्चुअली मेरे पास ये स्काइप देखता हूँ मेरे पास स्काइप. फिर मैंने अभी लैपटॉप चेंज किया है तो शायद स्काइप इस पे है नहीं. I'll make sure that you get the record. Google Drive पे
ठीक
डाल दूंगा मैं,
हम्म
and then I will share it from there.
हाँ
Okay. Okay.
हाँ
So let's start today's session. I think my
हाँ
voice is clear to you now, right?
या इट्स क्लियर आई
No.
मीन फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम इट्स क्लियर फ्रॉम द स्टार्ट तो सही है
Yeah. Actually, I was using Ubuntu. I don't know. There was some issue with Ubuntu driver itself. So I kind of switched my laptop. I'm now using some other laptop. So that I thought like would have improved for you. Okay. So, what we're going to understand today is it's a very simple and plain explanation in Hindi and English about Django. Django क्या चीज़ है actually? So, uh, so, so then basically Django is a free and open source web app framework. So open source क्या होता है? You know there is a difference between open source, right? I mean, what is open source and what is a paid version of a software, right?
या
So open source, yeah. So Django is basically open source web app framework. A framework means it will provide you all the means and mechanism to build something, right? Like the way we have a toolbox, right, with us. So, and it provides all the tools that we require to build something or create something. So similar to that, framework will be basically what we call a framework as it is having all the necessary things like libraries and everything that is required to build a project or a application. In case of Django, it is a web app. Web app is what web app is. Web app is something called you create web applications, websites. You can create others. I mean, all web kind of stuffs with Django. So basically, it's more or less used for building websites and the web applications. Django is used in that, and it follows a principle called as dry. I mean, dry is a terminology that we use in software design principles, which says that don't repeat yourself. Don't repeat yourself means if you have declared something, you reuse that. If you have created something, you reuse that instead of creating the same thing again and again.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. In a simple terms, in our day-to-day life, right? We might have seen that, right? Uh, uh, like how can I say? I mean, I am not seeing any particular analogy associated with that, but like simple thing, right? If you have purchased something, let's say refrigerator we have purchased, right? We kind of reuse the same refrigerator every time. If it is, it's a very bad analogy, but I'm just trying to define a thing. So don't repeat yourself means you don't create new things again and again. You simply
Mm-hmm.
try and reuse the same thing. So that's the key design software design principle that Django follows. It supports multiple databases. So Django is having the inbuilt support for SQLite. As soon as you create a Django project, there is a SQLite file that gets created, and it has support. It has drivers for all the three major databases like Postgres, MySQL, and Oracle. And nowadays it is also having a driver for MongoDB, which is a NoSQL database that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So it has that kind of support. The beauty of Django is, I mean, आपने जैसे कि initial phase में project start किया, you took it to a good audience. I mean, there were around 10-20 users started using the project, but you
Mm-hmm.
found some issue with the database. I mean, generally it doesn't happen, but your use case was different. आपका use case था कि आपको NoSQL database चाहिए था, not NoSQL, और let's say आपको Postgres database चाहिए था. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of kickstarted with the budget constraint आपने MySQL से start कर दिया. So Django provides you that kind of capability. In a way, you can at runtime you can migrate from one database to another. Like from MySQL, you can migrate to Postgres. It has that capability. You can create migration scripts and provide that in the middle of. I mean, your project is running and you can do that migration. So we will
Mm-hmm.
come to that, but just a point to keep in mind. Yeah. So, and it is the main benefit of Django is it provides uh, it provides basically integration with open source libraries. I mean, all the data science libraries that we have, like NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, right? So these are all libraries which provide support for. And you can integrate. I mean, you can find a lot of tutorials floating around on the web, which kind of create data science, small data science projects uh, on top of Django. I mean, you can do that with React and Node.js also, but React and Node.js requires a different technology background or a different I mean, understanding of things, right? Now with Python, you have everything built in Python ecosystem. I mean, you have an ecosystem of Python, but you have different libraries of Python. There is a data science library like Matplotlib or NumPy. There is a web library, as I explained. I mean, when we started this course, right? So everything is in Python ecosystem. But if we choose different technologies, the ecosystem of that technology will be different, and the ecosystem for learning. Our goal is to learn, dwell into more on the data science part, right? So That's where this Django and web frameworks, Django help us to, reach near that goal. So uh, this Django is basically providing support for open source libraries like NumPy and Pandas. So this is a key definition of Django, and we will come to like who created the Django, how it came into existence. So we will come to that part. So the key highlights for Django. I mean, why should you learn Django? What is Django? We just understood what exactly is Django. And the key highlights of Django, I mean, why you should learn Django is because comparing, if you compare with other on-demand or the ongoing trends or the competitive programming languages or technologies that provide web application development. So if we compare that, Django provides an inbuilt authentication support mechanism. You don't need to go outside, import some kind of library and have it in place. Django framework itself provides you inbuilt authentication mechanism. Uh, so Django admin module is one of the when we do hands-on, you will see how you can simply create a super user and you can access Django admin. There is a beautiful site that on a single command a site gets created, admin site gets created. We will see that. So first thing, it provides authentication support. Second thing is that the thing I was telling you, it provides database schema migration. So schema means you create a structure of database or tables. You create, let's say, uh, for a for some module for employer. You created an employee database, and later on you decided to basically so what happens? I mean, what exactly database schema migration is? As I was explaining, that if you're deciding to go from one database to another, from MySQL to Postgres, database schema migration helps you to do that. I mean, even if you are running in production, right, you can do that database schema migration, and all the schema for your database will get migrated to the new database that we have. Either from MySQL to Postgres, from Postgres to Oracle. So these all capabilities Python is having. Object relational mapper is also one of the good feature. I mean, it's there in all other technologies as well. I mean, in Java, in .NET Core, with all this facility is also there. So this same facility is available in Django, which basically is what it helps is basically help you to showcase your database as an object relational mapper. So you can represent your database entities or the tables as a class, and you can use those class and you can perform insert update delete operation. So that kind of framework for performing database operations Python provide via object relational mapper. And it supports multiple web servers, which is having gateway interfaces like web server gateway interface and asynchronous gateway interface. Through that it supports multiple web servers like Apache or if you want to have uh, nowadays with the latest deployment model of containers and you can also do the hosting with that. And it is having a template engine. So what you can do, आपके कर सकते हैं template बना के you can create a single template and you can use the template wherever you want. So that is what it is having, and it is having a mechanism of URL routing. So with the regular expressions that we learned, right? Hello.
Oh yeah, I just put myself on mute for you.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought I lost you.
No.
Okay. So अभी हमने जो last time learn किया था a regular expression. We will see the implementation of a regular expression when we start writing URL routes. जब हम लोग फंक्शनली डिफाइन करेंगे, मतलब जैसे कि आप कोई चेकआउट मॉड्यूल पे हैं तो आपको जनरली अमेजोन में दिखता होगा amazon.com/checkout, right? So how those routing, so that is where URL is defining what feature you are on. I mean, on the website, what feature exactly you are working on or you are using. That feature is described by your website. But so how we can do the same in Django? So URL routing basically helps us. You can, by using URL routing, you can do multiple things. You can hide a lot of complexities that is going on in the project, and that is where it is useful, and it uses internally regular expression to do that. So we will also check this thing. So this is on why, what is Django and why should we learn Django. These are the key highlights that Django was having. Now, the important thing about Django, I mean, how it came into picture. I mean, these were the two developers who basically founded Django. The name was Adrian Holloway and Jacob Calpin. Little bit difficult to pronounce, but these are the guys who basically started Django, and Django was used initially developed for a newspaper magazine because it was having a lot of documentation to have in place, and Django basically helped in that, and that's how it got famous. And if you even open Django website, have you ever tried? That might be useful new for you, but if you get chance today, so just try and see the documentation or the website for Django.
Okay. Okay.
It's very beautiful website, and it is having a lot of information available there. Uh, but I mean, when you kickstart Django development, right? There are every new thing. Many new things come into market every day, or maybe a year or so later, there might be new things that comes up in the market, right? So Django documentation, that the website specifically is very is written in such a way that the documentation you can read and you can understand by yourself. So
Okay.
the and how this, I mean, these two guys basically developed Django, the Django founders, but the name that came, the Django name, how it came from the, after the famous guitarist that was in history. The name was Django Reinhardt, and from him, on the name of him only, this project, I mean, this Django technology came into picture. Now the interesting thing is how you can pronounce Django. So basically, we don't pronounce Django as Django. It is Django. So D is silent. You might have seen this movie, right? Django Unchained. So when I watched that movie first, I pronounced the name as Django Unchained. I mean, what is this name? I first मतलब यही सोच रहा था कि क्या name है. Django
हाँ,
Django क्या name होता है? But then I
Django,
realized
हाँ.
it's Django. So I mean, just food for thought. I mean, this is now we pronounce it D silent. So इसका हम लोग हिस्ट्री थोड़ा जानते हैं कि what is the history of Django? I mean, so it was basically when it was created, and it was open source in 2005. The first version that got released was in September 2008. First version as a official release, and then the current version that it is having is 3.16, 1.6. And it might have, slide might have been a little older. I mean, 15 days. I'm not sure. There might be one more version out they have rolled out. So we can check that. But as far as I'm aware, this is the last stable version that they have currently in the market. So for starters, so this is timeline that it is having. So the interesting thing that you might be seeing that in 2017, 1.11 version was there, and there is some terminology being used called as LTS, right? So what exactly LTS means? So let's say you create a project in 3.2. You started creating the project in 3.2, not 3.2. Let's say 2.2, Django 2.2 also. So what happens? You started the project in 2021, mid of 2021. Let's say in June. So what this LTS means? LTS means long-term support. Long-term support from Django end. Any kind of issues that Django framework is having, right? It will be the Django itself will be supporting that those kind of issues, and will be providing the fixes by the end of, or by the first quarter of 2023. That is the meaning of LTS. LTS is long-term support. So whenever you choose a technology, right? Whenever you go into a market, somebody might ask you, so how do you choose a technology? Even if you choose a technology, how you decide which version you want to use? So if you have already chosen a technology, to decide the version, you have to see if I choose this version, will it be providing me enough support down the line?
Mm-hmm.
And the main owners of that product will, or the framework, will they are they be providing us the long term support down the line, let's say 2 years, at least for 2 years, if I roll out my product in market, and when will I be upgrading to a newer version? So those all things, if you keep in mind,
Mm-hmm.
then you will be having a proper answer which version you want to use. For our project development, we will be using 2.1.7, and the long-term support for that is, I think we will be ending in 2022. Better to go, the first quarter is already achieved, right, of 2021. So I think 3 or 2 is already should have been out if they are not behind the timelines. And we can use Productive, and it will be having long-term support, I think, after 2023 also. So I mean, this is what long-term support means. And any technology you are going, and version you are deciding, these are the things you have to do. Okay. So now let's come to the features that it is having. I mean, on the high level, it's fast and simple. It's open source, and we already discussed, and it's secure. How it is secure? Because Django framework is open source itself, and whatever vulnerabilities that are coming in, those are immediately being targeted by the open source community, and they
Mm-hmm.
are taking care of fixing them ASAP, so that all the I mean, community itself will take care of the whole thing. But the key thing that is having, I mean, to avoid cross-site token forgery of your page, right? So, so we have read about encryption and decryption, as well as some kind of white hat hacking or black hat hacking, right? In your college. So Django provides you inbuilt functionality of Csrf token prevention, where as soon as you send a request from your page, from as soon as user requests a page, Django will provide a token itself to that user, so that again, if user submits the same page back to the server, it will authenticate, and it will find out whether any modifications has been made, or is it the genuine user who is submitting the request. So it is having inbuilt capability of doing so. Other technologies are also having, but Django is having. I think Django was the first one who basically had this feature. So you can, for reading, further reading, you can read on CSRF. But we will come to that when we progress into the course. Now, who is using this Django
Mm-hmm.
behind the scenes? I mean, Instagram is one of the proper client of Django. Pinterest is there. Discuss is there. Bitbucket. Bitbucket uh, is a tool, or a repository, entire repository that is similar to what we have Git, right? GitHub, not Git, GitHub.
Mm-hmm.
So GitHub is something that is built on top of Git. So you use commands, and you can create your repositories in GitHub, right? Similar to GitHub, we have called as Bitbucket. Bitbucket is also a repository managing mechanism. There are other repository managing mechanism like Bitbucket, like VSTS we have, and we have there are many others. Mostly VSTS is the current prevalent in market, and Bitbucket is also taking up a base. So these are also using Django. Spotify, you might have heard, right, as the largest music platform which runs across the world. also uses Django as a web as a backend platform for handling requests. So there are many websites that use it. These are the few major one which handles lot of load on the server when because of the large user base that they are having it. They have a huge user base, and every day there are, I mean, lakhs and millions of users logs in and do lot of operations on their website. So you can see that, right? How much Django is flexible. That's why it is being used in this kind of large customer based projects, right? So
Mm-hmm.
these all are the clients who are using Django. Recently, I heard that Quora was also one of the client that was using Django. Not
Oh,
exactly Django, or maybe Python Flask they might be using, but yeah, they were having a backend framework built on Python itself. That's what I heard. And when to use Django? I mean, we heard what is Django. We gone through why to use Django and when to use Django. So let's see. You have a need to deploy a web app. Just have a web app. Web app means you will be having UI as well as code for handling database operation of the backend plus front end both, or you
mm-hmm.
just want backend, right? A front end can be in another technology like React uh, Angular. So if you want both backend front end, or you want only backend, so in such cases you can use Django. If you want to deploy and build the application fast and make the changes very fast and move ahead quickly, then also you can use Django because it is very fast. Development in Django is very fast. There are inbuilt commands that provides you lot of project creation capabilities, lot of integration capabilities, and that's how your
Mm-hmm.
the creation of a project will be very much fast. So, and third thing is, as I was saying, that it is secure. So it is having these all uh, provide security against all the prevalent vulnerabilities or securities like CSRF token, SQL injections, cross-site scripting, and clickjacking. So clickjacking was a mechanism that came into highlight in the year 2008, where the fake screen either kind of phishing, a fake email appears, but in clickjacking, if you are doing some operation, a transparent screen might appear on your laptop, and
Mm-hmm.
you, if you are clicking on something, it is going somewhere else. So data, when you're typing username password, but you might be typing in a transparent screen where it might appear for you. It might appear that you're typing exactly in the textbook, but that might not be the case. You are typing in some transparent screen, and when you click on login, it might take you to some other. It might steal your data and store it in some external database, and that's how they they steal your identity. So you can read about this thing, CSRF, SQL injections, and so CSRF we will touch base as soon as we progress with Django. And SQL injections also, SQL injection is a way to inject a very bad data, like
Mm-hmm.
if you know SQL, right? Hyphen is a way you can comment your SQL queries. And if you have written your SQL queries in the code in a very bad way, which doesn't filter out uh, all the special characters like hyphen or exclamation at the rate hashtag, right? If you don't filter out those kind of special characters, and as well as a scripting tag, then there are high chances that somebody can manipulate your SQL query and inject some data, which inject something which your server itself will execute, and can also lead for you to data loss, uh,
Mm-hmm.
temporary deletion of table. I mean, deletion of table itself, table inside itself is you have lost your data. So I mean, these all things are possible with SQL injections. So you can learn about it, you can read about it. And the last thing that is it is having very high percentage. I mean, which having a high probability to integrate with cutting edge technologies in future, like machine learning, be it a machine learning or a natural language processing, right? AI, ML, the data
Mhm.
science, you take data science, you can integrate easily with this all latest cutting edge tool because it is having as I said, it is having its own ecosystem. Python is having its own ecosystem of Python as a language, and you just have to download or create a download a new package to just support that. So this is uh, this is about Django. Now I will skip the theory part. I will for now I will skip this part because I
Okay.
just wanted to touch base on Django. We will come back to this theory part again. Now let's go into the Visual Studio and let's run some command and see how we can uh, create a Django project, right? Let's try and do that. Let me reshare my screen. Let me share my desktop itself, and that way we can basically touch base. Okay. Now let me open the folder also where it is. Documents. So for our understanding, right, this is a Python masterclass. You might be seeing in the Git also Python masterclass folder. Underneath that, I am going to create a new folder by Django projects, and in that we will be creating our projects here. Okay. So I will create a new folder here, and I will give it a name as Django first project, first project, and let's open it. Okay. Now, you remember, right? As soon as we create any project, we should basically first of all create a virtual environment or switch to a virtual environment, right? So that it prevents any future conflicts. So, any idea like how we can switch to environment here? Hello, Ankit, can you hear me?
सॉरी मैं म्यूट पे बोल रही थी। आप एक नया एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट करना चाह रहे हैं, राइट?
uh, Environment create, let's say I just want to switch, so I'll just type in command, right? Command open info list and recognized. Okay, now let me see if I can type conda command. Yes, it is
इन्फो।
there. So I just want to check info conda info and the list. Okay, let me switch to again conda info hyphen list. Or info what all commands are available. I'll so help is there and then envs, yeah, so that's what I was searching for. Yeah, so you see, right, I'm having these all envs. Now let's see if I want to switch to pi 38. Pi 38 is nothing but I have created an environment which is having the python pre-installed as 38. Okay. But
ओके।
I won't use it because it's having all the Django and everything configured. So let's try and create a new, right? Conda. So let's go back to the conda command and let's create a new environment itself. Conda create Panda create with the name. I will take Django 38, right? Django 3.3. Django 3. Let's keep a simple name Django. Okay. Django training or simple name as Django. Now it will create the required environment, and we will first of all activate that environment. Activate Django. Activate Django. And dash this comma activate activate Java. So I have to basically switch to, instead of dash I have to use default command prompt that comes with Mac. So now with this I am into Django. Now I will use pip to install Python 3.8. Pip command is not okay. No worries. Let's install via Conda itself, because I haven't installed the Python, so pip command might not be there. So let's install it. So it will install for us the required Python framework that we have chosen as 3.8. Now we will also install the pip command Django. Pip install Django. So we try and download the Django framework for us, and it will should install Django. So you see, right, Django version that it is trying to download is 3.2.3, and we will be using the same. So I might need to update my slide. As mentioned, we are at 3.1.6, little older version, but the latest version that is available is 3.2.3. So Django, we have all the required things that we wanted. Now let's see Conda list. You see, if you do Conda list, right, it will give you a list of softwares or the libraries that we have. So we have Django, we have Python available. Now let's with the installation of Django, there is a so basically we are saying that we are ready to create Django project. So to create a Django project, there is a command line that we have. So you can take a note of that along with the Conda commands. I think you might have memorized Conda commands, but apart from that, we have some commands that will be routine for us in coming lectures to basically create a project, Django project. So to do that, you can just do Django underscore admin. So I will not type in the current enter command. Let's just see. Let's just enter this command and see what this command is doing. So Django hyphen admin, not underscore admin. Django hyphen admin. I just entered into it. So it is having these all sub commands. This utility is having these all commands. Django admin is an utility. It is having it is all it is all command. So what command we are interested in is to create a new project, right? So the command that we're interested in is start project. So we will first of all type Django -admin start project. We'll give it a name like let's say first project. Start project. We'll give it name first underscore project. Okay. And let's see what happens. We'll see something happening on in this left then as soon as I hit enter. So here
Yeah,
there,
that's
there is
first project
something.
folder.
Yeah. This project thing got created. Now let's dwell into this folder and this the entire thing that it is having. So it is having the first project and this project. It is having some few bunch of files. Let's go through them one by one and try and understand what exactly their function is. So I'll go from the first underscore init underscore py. So you remember, right, when we were learning the module and packages part. So I skipped this portion where I declared in underscore init that py into a folder, and I was trying to uh, kind of import it.
Mm-hmm.
So this underscore py means this is basically a package. This folder will be treated as package. And if you want to import this package, you have to import it by using a name first project. So that's what this underscore py underscore underscore dot py means. We will see that when we create our first step, we will see that how we can use this emitter py. It will be used by default, but we will still see the user of it. Now, ASGI and WSGI are some common terminologies that we use when we try to host our application, right? When we have built our application. Now, let's say if we want to host our application in some external servers, right? If I name few of the servers that are there in market, the top one might appear will be Apache, and Apache is an open source server that you can download and use. The other one that comes up is IAS. IAS is mostly used for the Windows platform, and there are a bunch of others nowadays with the invention of cloud technologies. Right, we have inbuilt how inbuilt hosting of your product in the in-house hosting of a product means container itself, the virtualization that we were doing, right? You might have learned
Mm-hmm.
about virtualization concept in your college, on your machine, uh, there can be single machine and there can be multiple operating system on that machine. So
Mm-hmm.
similar to
So
that,
yeah, that. Mm-hmm.
yeah, similar to that, there is a concept called as containerization, or it is a high level one step above virtualization concept, in which in virtualization there will be separate operating system, right? So that what does that mean? You will be using the underlying hardware same of a machine, but you will be having separate memory, separate hard disk allocated to each and every operating system. But in containerization, it's little different. Where what will happen? You won't. Uh, you will be having a single operating system, like the way if you have uh, I mean, seeing any of the ships, right? There is a large or huge cargo ships, right?
Mm-hmm.
That are there, on which there are multiple containers being put on, right?
Yeah, yeah.
If you have seen this controversy or the incident of Suez Canal, right? So that ship was lying in between of Suez Canal, and it was blocking lots of
Yeah, yeah,
packages.
like blocked, yeah.
So if you closely analyze that sheet, it was having a lot of containers put on top of each other. But the underlying base is
Mm-hmm.
same, right? Similar to that, what happens? Your machine is the underlying sheet. You can take it as consider it as a machine. The underlying machine is same, but the applications or the container that it is having, the container will be having applications, and those applications will be using the space and the as well as the memory and everything of that base itself. Base itself is that same operating system itself. So that is the difference that you have in container. And inside container, you deploy your application and you expose it, and it will be. I'm just explaining on a high level, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these things come up when you go into a company, right? Into an organization, these things come up, and it's good to know things. So I'm just explaining this. So
Mm-hmm.
coming back to ASGI and WSGI, these are the two ways where you can which you can use to host your Django based application. Uh, and so these are open standard, open source standard terminologies like ASGI. What ASGI full form stands for? ASGI acronym stands for asynchronous gateway interface. WSGI stands for Web Service Gateway Interface. So I mean, you can remember this term. WSGI is basically a older way of doing the hosting of your application. ASGI is nowadays Django has introduced to use in asynchronous gateway interface. We will come to that when we basically have built up an entire app and we wanted to host it somewhere. So we will come to that and we'll use it for hosting at that point of time. So these are the two files that we have. Now, now coming to the settings.py file. So the settings.py file is. So if you take a look at the settings.py file, minimize this. You see this settings.py file. It is having a bunch of key and values declared here. So there
Mm-hmm.
is a base directory being declared. The base directory means where exactly your application is running. There is a secret key being used declared. The secret key is something that is used to basically encrypt or decrypt, perform some encryption or decryption on specific things in Django. So one of the thing is CSRF token. So the CSRF token Django will be encrypting and sending it to the user. And so as user performs some operation, let's say submitted some form of employee creation or some other form he submits from
Mm-hmm.
UI, it comes back to the Django server, and this secret key, Django server will try to decrypt the token that he has sent to the user at the first request. So in that way, it will encrypt and decrypt and checks uh, the token, the CSR token is same. If it is not same, that means the user is not a proper or authorized user. Third thing you see
Mm-hmm.
here is debug is equal to true. Debug is equal to true means if you are not in production,
Mm-hmm.
so I mean production in the sense you have not deployed your app somewhere. If you are still doing some development on your machine, this will be
Okay.
termed as debug is equal to true. So you can
Mm-hmm.
debug your application. What happens with this debug, right? As soon as any error comes on your
Uh-huh.
application, it gives you entire stack trace. Stack trace generally in technology means or in a programming language terms means that it will give you from where it will give you all the steps of or the point of failures where exactly it has failed. It will give you the method name. It will give you the class or the property who called this method. And from I mean it will be having a long list of methods. I mean all the methods from where like one after another, which method called which one, and the last point of failure will come into picture. Now let's say if you display that thing to the user, right, that will not be a proper way for him to understand. What he will understand by seeing that long list of errors. So this basically debug is equal to help you to understand that if you are developer, you can see and understand okay where exactly it is failing, you can go and troubleshoot. But for user it doesn't matter. You can just display error as occurred. He will see okay, he will understand that error is occurred. भाई अब error हो गया, अब मैं अब मुझे किसी को contact करना पड़ेगा. But if you display
अच्छा.
him the technical details, right?
Mm-hmm.
Generally, if some site that displays that is not a proper way. That is not user friendly itself. तो उस केस में मतलब वो दिक्कत देता है, इसलिए इसको फॉल्स करते हैं जब हम प्रोडक्शन में मतलब यूजर को देते हैं प्रोडक्ट, तब इसको
Mm-hmm.
फॉल्स करके देते हैं इस वजह से.
Okay.
Allowed host, I mean, it's not used much, so I'll just skip that. I mean, we will not even use this in our. Because it basically uses if you have multiple integration with some other host, right? Some traffic is coming on this website. If you want to allow, if you don't write anything, it will allow anonymous. I mean, from any host, a request can come. But if you provide some allowed host, I mean, from specific machine only or from specific domain only, this should the traffic should come on your this website. Then you can provide some inputs here. But in the interest of time, we will not discuss much on this. Installed apps. Installed apps means there is a bunch of apps. So we will create our app. This is a project, right? This is a project, but we will also create an app. So Django itself is having its own bunch of apps like admin, authentication, content types. So these all apps we can create and we can inject our own app here also. And Django will read it and help us to basically uh, at runtime make it available and make it up and running. So we will reach to that point. Then there are some bunch of middlewares. So middleware what happens middlewares. तो जैसे कि आप रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं यूजर ने समझो एम्प्लॉय की डिटेल मांगी कि मेरे को
Mm-hmm.
ये एम्प्लॉय आईडी विच इज इक्वल टू 1 मुझे इस एम्प्लॉय आईडी की डिटेल दीजिए आप जांगो मतलब जांगो सर्वर की डिटेल मांगी तो उसमें होता क्या है जब ये रिक्वेस्ट सर्वर पे जाती है उससे उसके पहले बंच ऑफ मिडलवेयर्स होते हैं मिडलवेयर्स इन द सेंस सर्वर जब उसको एग्जीक्यूट करेगा एंड रिक्वेस्ट को उससे पहले कुछ चेक्स परफॉर्म होंगे तो इसमें जैसे कि
Okay.
सिक्योरिटी मिडलवेयर होगा सबसे पहले सिक्योरिटी मिडलवेयर फायर होगा तो चेक करेगा कि CSRF टोकन वैलिड है कि नहीं और मोर
Mm-hmm.
bunch of other checks it might perform जैसे कि SQL इंजेक्शन हो रहा है कि फ्लिप जैकिंग कोई कोई कुछ कुछ हो रहा है तो वो सब चेक करेगा तो दैट पासिस इट विल गो टू सेशन मिडलवेयर इट विल चेक अभी आपने देखा होगा कि जीमेल में अगर आप लॉग इन नहीं करो 10 दिन तक तो आपका जीमेल एक्सपायर हो जाता है करेक्ट मतलब
हाँ हाँ.
फॉर इन सेंस आपको फिर से यूजर नेम पासवर्ड ही माइट आस्क यू अगेन फॉर यूजर नेम पासवर्ड राइट सो
Mm-hmm.
दिस सेशन मिडलवेयर विल टेक केयर ऑफ दैट कि आपने कुछ रिक्वेस्ट समझो आज रिक्वेस्ट करी थी अब 10 दिन बाद आके अब आपके वहाँ वेब पेज ओपन है और आपने क्लिक कर दिया दिस सेशन मिडलवेयर विल टेक केयर ऑफ managing if your session has timed out, it will again redirect you to the login page or might give you some message, right? Your session
Mm-hmm.
has expired or something. Then there are others middleware like CSRF, authentication. Authentication will take care of performing authentication, always checking whether you are authenticated user or not. Then there are a bunch of other middlewares like message middleware and next frame options middleware. So Xtrain we don't have much to cover on. Xtrain is something that we will not be going to use as part of our Django story. So we will not I mean discuss much on that. But so these are I mean overall concept middlewares are nothing but before your server returns request to the end user, bunch of bunch of uh, things in the middle that are sitting between the server and the user. As soon as you send request to the server, this middleware will execute first, and then the server will process the request. That is what middleware means. Now there is a root URL config. So URL config means it is a path where URLs.py file is lying. So we come to this thing later when we deal with the URLs part. Then there is a template part. So template this is where you declare your templates. So when we create template, right? Down the line, whenever we go to the templates class, where you create your HTML file. So templates are nothing but an HTML file. When you create an HTML file, you have to give the details of those things here in the directories where exactly your templates are lying. So this will be used for doing that. Now there is a important thing that we have on the WSD application. It is okay, but the important thing that we want to understand is databases. So databases. So you see here, right? But there's a default term being used here, and there's an engine and name being given. So what engine we are going to use is SQLite 3. So Django itself is having libraries for SQLite 3. and we are going to use SQLite 3 for our initial project. Later on, we can shift to Postgres or MySQL, but for our understanding, we are going to use SQLite 3, and in that, and where exactly this database will be? It will be in the base directory. Base directory means first project, and it will be under, it will be named db.sqlite3. Right now, it's not created because we haven't run the project itself. That's why it is not appearing. But as soon as we run, it will appear. So there is a command we have to run. So I will come to that. What command and which all command. So I will not go more in detail because I think it will be too much time consuming for me to explain all things. We will come to know as soon as we get used to each and everything. So this is where so in short, the setting.py will have the setting of your project. And this is where you can define them and you can tweak them, and it will impact all your entire application as well as app that you are going to build on. Now comes the urls.py part. Okay, so urls.py part, this is where you declare your URLs and map it with the router. So यहाँ पे आप देखोगे यहाँ पे admin करके कुछ declare किया हुआ है. So let's go and first try and run it first. And let's see what happens without wasting your time. So keep your url.py on hold. Before running my project, I just want to touch base on manage.py because manage.py आपका admin utility है आपके इस project का. आप इस project के अंदर आप कुछ भी operation perform करेंगे, जैसे कि if you want to run this project, or if you want to add one more app on this project, then you are going to use manage.py file. So how we will use it? So let's see that. This is one more command that you can keep in mind. So just type in Python and type in manage.py. Oops, sorry, I have to basically cd because that is there in the first project. And now if I do Python manage.py, you see it will provide me with a bunch of options. So the option that I am interested in is run server, not starter. There is an option called as run server. Here it is. Okay. So let's try and see what it does. There is run server. So it does give me some kind of warning. We have eating unapplied migrations. The project may not work properly until you apply the migration. So it is asking if you need to migrate the project. So you see, right, as soon as I ran this project, this tb.sqlite3 file got created, which is nothing but our database file for our project. So this migration, this migration I will come later. Just keep in mind because with this only our project will run. But let's first run this project and see what exciting thing it is having, right? So let me click command and click. You see, right? This is how our Django page looks like. The first Django page looks like. Now, so far, are we good?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a little lot, so मतलब अगर recording मिलेगा तो फिर ठीक है थोड़ा सा.
नहीं मैं recording I will share.
हाँ, क्योंकि ऐसे अभी क्या है कि इतना सारा information है कि मुझे कुछ समझ में नहीं आ रहा मैं क्या पूछूं. तो सकता है एक बार मैं फिर से एक बार पढ़ूंगी
you go
इसको
through the
तो फिर.
recording, no worries.
Yeah.
But keep it with you. I mean, you can distribute it, but just for the sake of my confidentiality, right?
Yeah, no sharing. मतलब मैं बस क्योंकि देखकर फिर मैं questions के साथ come up हो सकती हूँ.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So अभी आप यहाँ देखो कि यहाँ पे admin करके लिखा हुआ है, correct? Admin slash, correct? Now if I go back to this site, right, slash admin slash, now you will see that there is some other beautiful UI that comes up. There is a username password that comes up, but currently it won't work if I type anything because we haven't set up some few things. To debug true, right? This is how your page will appear. if you
ओके,
display,
सो ये ऐसे लोकल होस्ट में ही हम पिंग कर रहे हैं, राइट?
हाँ लोकल होस्ट। तो अभी क्या हो रहा है कि अभी हमारे SQL 3 लाइक 3 पूरा खाली डेटाबेस है। ओके, तो ऑब्जेक्ट रिलेशनल मॉडल क्या होता है कि आपके पास क्लासेस क्रिएटेड है, आपके पास एम्प्लॉय की क्लास है, आपके पास स्टूडेंट की क्लास है, आप स्कूल का, जैसे कि आप स्कूल का सॉफ्टवेयर बना रहे हैं तो आपके पास स्टूडेंट की क्लास पे क्लासेस हैं, क्लासेस इन द सेंस ऑब्जेक्ट ओरिएंटेड प्रोग्रामिंग वाली क्लासेस। आपके पास टीचर की क्लासेस हैं, एंटिटीज हैं, राइट। आपके पास डेटाबेस में कुछ भी नहीं है, आपने खाली क्लासेस बनाई है। अब आप उस क्लासेस के बेसिस पे आपको बनाना है टेबल, करेक्ट। तो ऑब्जेक्ट रिलेशनल मैपर क्या करता है, पाइथन का एक ऑब्जेक्ट रिलेशनल मैपर करके फीचर है जो ये पॉसिबल करता है। जस्ट डिक्लेयर क्लास एंड इट विल क्रिएट टेबल्स फॉर यू, क्रिएट टेबल्स फॉर यू, डेटाबेस पे ना टेबल बना देगा। तो अभी यहाँ पे ये जो आपको जो एरर दिख रहा था, ये उसी चीज का था, क्योंकि अभी क्या हो रहा है कि पाइथन जब जब आप जांगो प्रोजेक्ट रन करते हो तो उसके अंदर बाय डिफॉल्ट एडमिन मॉड्यूल हमेशा आता ही है। एडमिन मॉड्यूल, कैसा एडमिन मॉड्यूल, तो ये जो आपको ये यूआरएल दिख रहा है स्लैश एडमिन, ये एडमिन मॉड्यूल है। तो इसको इनेबल करने के लिए यू हैव टू रन सम कमांड which basically will create the schema, database schema in this database. This database is empty currently, doesn't have any tables. So to create tables in it, you have to run one command. So how you run it? So we'll check on that. So to run it, let's go again and type in Python manage.py. Okay, and let's see what all commands we have. We have make migration, show migration. So let's run one by one. Let's run show migrations first, and let's see what output it gives. So it gives me that these are all the migrations that I can apply, and it will help me to run my application. So let's run it by using run migration. तो अब ये क्या करेगा, मेरे SQLite 3 में टेबल्स वगैरह सब क्रिएट कर देगा। Run migration. Let me check it again. Make migration. Sorry, not run migration. It was make migration.
Make migration.
Yes. Make migrations. So it is saying no changes detected, but it can't be a case. Let's run the application again. Run server. Okay. So migrations are made, but I think we have to run the migration. So for do that, we have to basically just write a command migrate.
Okay.
It will do a migration, and it will now we can see. Now let's see whether we are able to, are we getting the same error or same warning or not. Python manage .py run server. Okay. Now we'll just do command and click. That error didn't came, right? That red line that was coming, that didn't came. Now let's try and go to the admin again. And but here again we will not be able to log in because we haven't created any user super user yet. So so what we will do, we will create a super user, but I think for today we will take a break for now, because we have gone through so many concepts. I don't want to overburden you also, because we have learned these many things. So the key things that we have to remember is we have what commands we have learned, right? What all things we have learned. So let me type in for you the commands. The first command is Django. First of all, you might be aware, right, how to create the Conda environment. So no need to worry about it. So this is the command that we have run start project and the project name. So for your assignment, you can just try and create one project by using these commands and just go through each and every file and try and understand what is happening. Okay. After creating this project, we have to go to python manage.py and run server. This is how you run the application. For migration, you have to just type in Python. First of all, you have to type in manage.py and make migrations. It might not give you the proper output, but and then you have to type manage.py migrate. So these are all the commands that we have learned today. You can just keep in mind. I have just commented them for us so that it can be used for later for reference. So I will take a pause for today and I'll commit this code for our understanding. I am having this PPT also there with me. In the same, let me remove this junk files. UIC files are not required. So I'm having this all bunch of files which you can refer. So let me just commit it. Django. Let me commit them. I haven't synced. It seems that I haven't synced my this thing, right? I might have to sync it. So, I'll do it later on. I mean, I'll just check it and publish it these things. But it seems that मेरा git sync नहीं है. Java stage.
ओके हाँ ये उसी
git.
गिट में जाके अपलोड हो जाएगा राइट?
git में अपलोड हो जाएगा. मैं आपको you will get it. I'll try कि ये वीडियो भी आपको मिल जाए. And can I upload it on YouTube and share a link with you? I mean, I can